All right, so we're diving deep into the 7 habits of highly effective people. And we've got excerpts from the Hindi translation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which adds a whole other dimension to it. You know what I mean?
It really does. It's like getting a whole bonus set of insights.
Yeah.
When you see it through a different culture's lens,
Right.
it can change how we understand even those really familiar ideas.
Okay, so remember back in the day when you had that old flip phone,
Oh, yeah.
and then all of a sudden those smartphones came along?
Yeah.
It was like a whole new world.
Yeah, I remember it felt like having a supercomputer just in my pocket.
Exactly. And Covey says that is exactly what a paradigm shift is like.
Mm-hmm.
It changes how you see everything.
Right.
So that's got to be where this whole journey to becoming effective begins, right?
Yeah, he really argues that point that a lot of us, operate from this personality ethic.
Okay.
Where we're focused on just quick fixes and techniques. But real effectiveness, he says, it comes from character ethic, which is built on those solid principles.
So like imagine trying to build a house on sand.
Yeah.
It's not going to last.
That's a great analogy.
Right.
Yeah, strong character.
Yeah.
Grounded in those principles, like integrity and fairness, that's the foundation for lasting success.
Yeah, and I think he even shares a story about his own son.
He does.
Who was struggling in school to kind of illustrate this point. So was this not about like getting a tutor or finding a better teacher?
No, it was about addressing the root of the problem.
Oh, wow.
Which was his son's lack of responsibility and self-discipline.
Okay.
And by working on those character traits, he saw this long-lasting improvement in his son's performance.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And that makes me think about something else that he talks about, this primary greatness versus secondary greatness.
Yeah.
What's the difference there?
I think a good way to think about it is primary greatness is about who you are.
Okay.
So it's your values, your character. Secondary greatness is what you have So your achievements, your skills, possessions, that sort of thing.
So it's like saying character is the source of true success.
Exactly.
Not the other way around.
Yeah, it's about building a life of integrity and purpose.
Right.
Not just chasing those achievements for the sake of it.
Okay, so that brings us to habit 1. Be proactive.
Yeah.
This one gets a lot of attention.
It does.
But isn't it just about, like, taking initiative?
I think it goes a little bit deeper than that.
Okay.
It's about recognizing we have a choice in how we respond to any situation.
Okay.
He tells a story about a tennis match where the player will say things like, I have to return the serve.
Okay.
He's almost giving up his power to the other player.
Oh, so even our words can make us less proactive.
Absolutely. When we use language that suggests we're not really in control, we're limiting our options.
Got it.
Proactive people use language that reflects their power to choose.
Okay.
So I choose to, I will.
So it's about shifting from that have to choose to.
Exactly. That's powerful.
Yeah, that is powerful. And that idea of choosing our response, that ties in with his emphasis on being over having, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's not about what we accumulate, those possessions or status. It's about developing our character and living by those principles.
And he uses the story of Joseph from the Bible to illustrate this, right?
He does.
Okay, now remind me about Joseph's story.
So Joseph went through some really, really tough times.
Okay.
He was sold into slavery by his own brothers. He was falsely accused and imprisoned.
Wow.
But even in all of that, he chose to focus on what he could be. So trustworthy, helpful, resourceful.
And that focus ultimately led to his rise to power in Egypt.
Exactly. It's this reminder that true strength comes from within, from our character and from our choices.
Wow.
It's not about what happens to us, but how we respond to it.
That's making me think about all those times I've said, like, ugh, I have to go to this meeting. Maybe I should be saying, I'm choosing to go to this meeting.
Yeah.
To learn this or to connect with that person.
There you go.
Okay.
You're already starting to think proactively.
Okay, so we've got this foundation of character and proactivity. What's next in this journey of effectiveness?
He goes on to distinguish between leadership and management.
Okay.
And he says that leadership is about determining the right things to do, setting that vision and that direction. But management, on the other hand, it's about doing things right so efficiently.
He uses that powerful image to explain the producers cutting down trees.
Yeah.
But in the wrong jungle.
In the wrong jungle.
It's like they're working hard, but it's for nothing if they're not focused on the right things.
It's the essence of it, and it takes a leader to step back and say, hold on, are we even in the right jungle?
Yeah.
Which leads us to the question of relationships.
Okay.
How do we apply these principles to building strong connections with others?
Yes. Relationships.
Yeah.
He has that brilliant analogy.
Yeah.
The emotional bank account.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
So think of it like this. Every relationship has an account.
Okay.
And you make deposits or you make withdrawals.
Okay. I'm intrigued. What are some examples of deposits?
Kindness, honesty, keeping your commitments, listening attentively,
Okay.
apologizing sincerely when you're wrong. These are all things that build trust and strengthen the relationship.
And then withdrawals are like?
Breaking promises.
Okay.
Being disrespectful, overreacting, dismissing the other person's feelings. Those are all things that chip away at the trust and damage the connection.
It's funny how we rarely think about relationships this way.
Yeah.
But it makes so much sense.
It does.
It really highlights how important it is to be aware of the impact our actions have on others.
Yeah, he emphasizes that understanding the other person's perspective is crucial.
Oh, absolutely.
Because what might feel like a deposit to you might not be perceived the same way by the other person.
Exactly.
It's about making those deposits that are meaningful to them.
So it's not about being nice in this generic way.
No.
It's about being thoughtful.
Exactly.
Understanding the other person's needs and their values.
Exactly. And that understanding is key for creating those win-win situations.
Okay.
Which is the heart of Habit 4.
Okay.
But before we jump into that,
yeah,
what's standing out to you so far? What's resonating?
Yeah, it's fascinating how those first 3 habits kind of lay the groundwork, you know?
Yeah.
They're like the building blocks for effectiveness, both personally and in how we interact with others.
Right. Like we're creating this solid inner core before we even step into the world of relationships and collaboration. Makes sense. So tell me more about Habit 4, this think win-win.
Yes. Think win-win.
Yeah.
You know, so many of us get stuck in this win-lose mentality.
Oh, yeah.
Thinking that for one person to succeed, somebody else has to fail.
Oh, I know that feeling, like fighting over the last slice of pizza. Exactly.
Even when you're not even that hungry.
Exactly. And Covey says we got to shift our thinking to an abundance mindset.
Okay.
You know, there's enough to go around.
Yeah.
There's enough pizza, enough success,
right,
enough good things for everyone.
Okay.
So collaboration and mutual benefit, those are way more effective than that cutthroat competition.
Okay. I like this abundance mindset. But how do we actually put that into practice?
Yeah.
Especially when you're dealing with someone who seems like they're determined to win at all costs.
That's a great question. And, you know, it all starts with that emotional bank account that we were talking about.
Okay.
Building that trust and understanding is essential for creating those win-win situations.
So before you even start negotiating or problem solving, you need to make sure there's enough in that account.
Exactly. When there's mutual respect and you feel like you're working toward a shared purpose, then it becomes much easier to find those solutions that benefit everybody.
Right.
Yeah. And this is important. Sometimes a true win-win just isn't possible.
Okay, so what do? Do you just wave the white flag?
Not at all. Covey says it's totally fine to walk away from a situation if you can't reach a mutually beneficial outcome.
Right.
He calls this no deal.
No deal. So it's about knowing your boundaries and being willing to say like, hey, this isn't working.
Exactly.
That takes courage. And that's where Habit 5 comes in. Seek first to understand, then to be understood.
This is a big one.
Yeah.
How many times do we jump into conversation just ready to argue our own point?
All the time.
Without really listening to what the other person is saying.
Especially on social media. It's like everyone's just waiting for their turn to talk.
Yeah.
They're not really listening.
It's like we're all wearing these noise-canceling headphones, just tuned into our own internal radio station.
Right.
But Covey says true communication that starts with empathic listening, really trying to understand the other person's perspective before we even think about sharing our own.
But how did you teach that?
Yeah.
It's hard to turn off that internal radio station.
It is, and he actually has this 4-stage process he calls empathic listening.
Okay.
And it starts with mimicking what the other person said and then rephrasing it to make sure you really understand.
So it's not just about nodding your head and saying, I get it.
Nope.
You have to actually engage with what they're saying.
Exactly. And then you move on to reflecting their feelings.
Okay.
Not just their words, but the emotions behind them.
So if someone is saying, I'm so frustrated with this project, you might say, Sounds like you're feeling really overwhelmed and stuck.
Yes, exactly. You're acknowledging those emotions,
Right.
showing them you're truly listening and trying to understand.
Yeah.
And finally, you kind of put it all together, you rephrase the content, you reflect their feelings, and this creates a really powerful connection.
Wow.
And it builds trust.
That's way deeper than just hearing words.
Yeah.
It's about tuning into their whole experience.
It is. And once you've truly understood,
Yeah.
then you can seek to be understood.
Right.
But even then, it's about expressing yourself respectfully and considering their perspective.
Okay.
And this sets the stage for habit 6, synergize.
Synergize. It sounds kind of magical.
It does.
Like 1 + 1 = 3.
Yeah, it can be. It's about recognizing that when people with different strengths and perspectives come together, they can create something greater than they could have achieved on their own.
Like a jazz band.
Exactly.
Each musician has their own unique style and talent.
Yeah.
But when they play together,
Yeah.
they create something truly extraordinary.
They do.
So it's not about everyone agreeing on everything.
Yeah.
It's about valuing those differences.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Covey says we should see those differences as opportunities, not obstacles.
Okay.
And he uses this great fable about an eagle and a squirrel school to illustrate this point.
Okay, I got to hear this fable.
All right, so imagine a school where they're trying to teach squirrels to fly
No.
and eagles to climb trees.
That's not going to work.
It's a recipe for disaster, right? It's only when they recognize and value each animal's unique strengths that they can all succeed.
So synergy is about embracing those different perspectives.
Yeah.
Those different strengths that everyone brings to the table.
Exactly. It's about creating that space where everyone feels safe to share their ideas, even if they're different.
Yeah.
You know, fostering that culture of open communication and mutual respect.
This makes me think about those brainstorming sessions where everyone's just trying to agree with the boss.
Yeah.
That's not synergy.
That's not synergy at all.
Right.
Synergy is about challenging each other's assumptions, pushing each other to think outside the box.
Right.
It's about seeking those third alternatives, solutions that go beyond just compromising or choosing one person's idea over another.
So it's not about settling for the easy answer. It's about creating something new and innovative.
Exactly.
Something that wouldn't have existed without that combination of different perspectives.
It's like mixing different colors of paint.
Yeah.
You don't get muddy brown when you combine red and blue.
Right.
You get this vibrant purple.
That's such a great visual.
Yeah.
It shows how something beautiful and unique can emerge when you combine those different elements.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got these 6 habits: a foundation of character, principles of effectiveness, the power of synergy. What's the final piece of this puzzle?
Well, it's the habit that sustains all the others.
Okay.
The one that keeps us sharp and ready to embrace all these principles. Habit 7, sharpen the saw.
Okay. Tell me more. What does it mean to sharpen the saw in the context of personal effectiveness? Sharpen the saw, huh? Sounds like getting ready for a lumberjack competition.
Well, in a way, it is less about getting ready.
Okay.
Ready for whatever life throws at you in every aspect you know. And Covey breaks it down into these 4 key dimensions.
Physical, spiritual, mental, and social emotional.
So it's not just about hitting the gym.
It's about taking care of your holy self.
Okay.
So you can be the most effective you.
Right.
And we start with the physical. Yeah, that includes exercise, but it's also nutrition, sleep.
Okay.
All those things that keep your body running smoothly.
So like an engine needs the right fuel and regular maintenance.
Exactly.
We need to take care of our physical needs to operate at peak performance.
Exactly. And Covey even gets specific. You know, he talks about aiming for that target heart rate during exercise.
Wow.
Stretching for flexibility, strength training.
Yeah.
He's serious about this.
This is making me feel guilty about that extra cookie I had last night.
One cookie won't derail you.
Okay.
It's about the bigger picture, you know, making those healthy choices most of the time so you have that energy to keep up with your goals.
Okay, that makes me feel better. What about the spiritual dimension? Does that mean like we all have to become monks? Not at all. It's about connecting with your core values, you know?
Okay.
Finding that sense of meaning and purpose.
Right.
It could be spending time in nature, meditation, prayer.
Yeah.
Anything that inspires you. And it helps you feel centered.
So it's about nurturing that inner spark.
Exactly.
Whatever that looks like for each person.
Exactly. And then there's the mental dimension.
Ah, yes, the brain power.
Yeah.
I bet this one's all about reading tons of books, right?
Reading is definitely part of it.
Okay.
But it's also about learning new skills, taking courses, having those stimulating conversations.
Okay.
Anything that keeps your mind active and engaged.
So like a muscle, you have to keep challenging your mind to keep it strong.
Exactly. And that final dimension, social emotional.
Okay.
That's all about our connections with others.
It sounds like it ties back into the emotional bank account.
It does. It's about building those healthy relationships, practicing empathy,
Right.
and developing our emotional intelligence.
So being able to understand and manage our own emotions,
Yeah.
but also being in tune with the emotions of others.
Precisely. It's about having those strong connections that provide support and encouragement,
Yeah.
but also learning how to navigate conflict effectively.
Right. This whole sharpen the saw concept.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that saying, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yes.
You have to take care of yourself to be able to give to others.
That's a great way to put it, and it's so important to remember all 4 of these dimensions. They're all interconnected.
Right.
Neglecting one can really throw the others off balance.
So it's like a holistic approach to well-being.
Yes.
You can't just focus on one area and expect to be truly effective.
Exactly.
It's about creating this balanced lifestyle that supports your growth in all areas.
You got it. And that's really the beauty of the 7 habits.
Yeah.
It's not just a set of rules, it's a philosophy for living a more fulfilling and effective life.
Well, this deep dive into the 7 habits has given me a lot to think about. From paradigm shifts to emotional bank accounts to synergy and sharpening the saw, it's been a journey.
It's a journey worth taking, wouldn't you say? These principles are timeless, and they can truly transform the way you live and interact with the world.
Absolutely. And I think that the most important takeaway for me is that effectiveness.
Yeah.
It's not a destination. It's an ongoing process.
Yes.
It's about constantly learning, growing, and striving to be our best selves.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Right.
So as you continue on this journey, remember, keep sharpening that saw.
Okay.
Keep building those emotional bank accounts and keep seeking those win-win solutions.
And most importantly, keep those paradigm-shifting smartphones charged.
Oh, that's an analogy Covey would appreciate.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep striving for that primary greatness.
Like and subscribe for more deep dives.